Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time, in this grand divine matrix that we are living in at the moment. I hope that you are able to acknowledge the synchronicities in your life, and I hope that you're able to see how God, your higher self, your spiritual team, the universe itself, it's all lining up in your favor, actually. In spite of all outer appearances, in spite of all the crazy stuff going on in the world today. This past week has been a doozy, right? But in spite of all that, a lot of things are lining up in your favor. And the astrology's been out of whack. Today's Friday the 13th. There's a lot of strange stuff going on. The coronavirus, something we can't even see, is taking down the whole damn world. And it's weird, right? It's so odd to watch this. Sylvia Browne predicted this was going to happen before she died. She had a book about the end times. She made other predictions that didn't come true. This one's coming true. She was pretty right on. She saw it was going to be a respiratory infection like pneumonia, and the whole world it's going to go around the whole world. Dean Koontz actually predicted the coronavirus. He actually predicted this. I just saw a video about this today, all these crazy coincidences. He called in the 1980s, I think is when he wrote this book. Was it Call of the Wild or no, not that. I don't know. I can't even remember the name of the book now. I just heard this morning, but he wrote about a virus called the Wuhan 400 coming out of the Wuhan province in China. It's going to pretty much take out the world, or, a big chunk of it. There's been a lot of weird things about this being predicted. I think the actual Simpsons had predicted this as well. It's not that big of a stretch, just to be honest. Every now and again, viruses come out of China. That's what you get for killing a bunch of wild animals and eating them. I did not know that until this past week. I learned that this week, that what exactly was going on. They have animals in cages from all over, wild animals and domesticated animals and wild animals that they domesticate, which is just all screwed up. So a snake can get something from a wolf, that can get something from a sheep, that can get something from a bat. And all of it can be transmitted to humans. Obviously, that's what happened. So, but there's all this stuff in the world that's like weird and negative and strange going on right now. Things are not normal, right? None of this stuff is normal, but in spite of all the insanity going on around us, all of us, those of us who are awake spiritually and awakening spiritually, and all the people that are on the path to enlightenment, we are seeing all that and we're going, yeah, this is odd. But we're able, when we look, to see all the synchronicities lining up and all the things that we waited for and watched for. We are the change we were looking for. We are the ones we were waiting for. We are starting to see it now. We're starting to feel it and see it, and the synchronicities, the number synchronicities are lining up like crazy. For me, like the last few days, 1111, 999, I've been seeing them. 444, 333, I've been seeing them. And a lot of strange coincidences and a lot of strange things this week for me. And a lot of stuff regarding false starts and like scams and fakery and things that were revealed at the last minute have been happening, that I've noticed. And I've seen that on my Instagram feed when I started adding a lot of people, like 30 or 40 people. And a lot of you, I think, are actually starting to listen to the show. So, hey, you guys, welcome. So glad to have you aboard listening to the show. I followed everyone back, and I started seeing all these synchronicities on my feed. And I started seeing the things that people are talking about. And it's so crazy. It's like somebody who, like, I didn't know. She's a friend of Joy, who's a listener, who's been a long-time listener of the show. And I just added her kind of just randomly, like we had similar things, and like, wow, we just automatically pulled together. And suddenly she's like, well, I know Joy. I'm one of Joy's friends. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's incredibly cool. You know, I'm just like finding people that knew people from before. And I'm also pulling in people that I haven't talked to in a very long time. People that I haven't had interaction with in maybe 2 years. And, you know, people from here in Ecuador, like, conversating with me suddenly, seeing stuff on my feed or whatever. And it's all these wild lining up things. Like a guy told me where I could find a metaphysical group in Cuenca. He actually gave me a link. He's like, oh, you should be able to find a boyfriend easy. Here's a link. And I was like, whoa. He's like, you like metaphysics, right? I'm like, oh, I was blown away. Wow. I said, maybe after the coronavirus stuff passes, maybe after that's blown over a bit and the world is quite a bit more calmed down, maybe I'll check that out. That sounds cool. So, a lot of strange coincidences, though. A lot of cool and amazing things have been happening, and a lot of almost mistakes on my part that were thwarted right at the last minute this week, 2 or 3 times. Like 2 or 3 big, huge things that could have been really a disaster, and then the last minute pulled out. It was like, oh. Now I'm just taking a step back, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to take an extra day on this. You know, I had made a decision, and I'm still in Mercury retrograde shadow period. If you are a Gemini or a Virgo, you know what the hell I'm talking about. Or if those planets or signs are featuring prominently in your birth chart, you know what I mean. We still have a couple weeks to go. I mean, on the 9th, we've got another 2.5 weeks of the shadow period. I mean, it can be some pretty gnarly energy. And I found an astrologer person. I can't remember her name, and I'll tell you guys once I find it again on my feed. But she has these amazing insights as to the astrology. And she said right now, because of what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 months astrologically, there's going to be a lot of people rising and falling financially. So people that have been really kind of solid and good to go for a long time will suddenly lose fortunes. And people who are just been struggling forever are going to rise up. But it's going to be up and down for everybody. So even if you like are homeless today and then like in a week you win the lottery, you know, you might be ripped off the week after, you know, and then after that, maybe you'll get a $100,000 a year job. Like it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that volatile and that crazy. And I thought that was really funny. I'm like, that's really strange that that's going on right now. I don't know if you guys watch Bitcoin. I do. I've invested in a couple Bitcoins, right? Yesterday I was looking at the numbers and I just watched with complete and utter shock as over the course of 24 hours it dropped 40%. I kept trying to buy it and it was like if I would have bought it And then by the time it took 10 minutes for that transaction, I would have lost $600. So I waited 20 minutes, tried it again. I almost lost $600 again. It was just like that. I was just like, you know what? I'm calling it quits. I'm calling it a day. It's done. Today I'm not going to do it. This is too crazy. It's too volatile. It went down to 4,000 yesterday, and it was like way over 10,000 like a week ago. And suddenly, like back today, it's like back up over like between $5,000 and $6,000 for one Bitcoin. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm out. This isn't, I'm not even going to deal with this right now. Maybe tomorrow we'll see where the market's at and what's going on, but crazy stuff. It's just been some crazy stuff, and one of the people that I buy from, he's, from the Ukraine, and he was telling me some of the fortunes and misfortunes in his life recently, like things that were doing really well and then all of a sudden did really crappy, and he had to get a lawyer to recover money owed to him. And the same thing, like with another thing, he's just like, every time I try to find a job lately, it's just up and down. It's like crazy. And I've been trying to get a handle on my future. Like, what am I going to do? I don't want to stop the show, so I need to get a job or I need to do something. And my son and I want to do have a cookie business, but I didn't want to rely on that only, because in October I lose all my income. And if the cookie business doesn't do well, how am I going to buy new stuff and keep going and pay for my rent and et cetera, et cetera. So we were thinking about it. And I just, all of a sudden, I don't know, I just thought, well, I could be a teacher. I'm a teacher anyway. I'm teaching you guys stuff all the time. I have taught in university. I actually taught a master's level class before I got my bachelor's degree. I was like an assistant teacher, and the teacher trusted me. I knew the material inside and out. I got an A in the class myself. It was a master level course. I had to have special permission to take it. And I ended up being the student assistant teacher and taking over a couple days here and there. And I wrote the exams, and I graded the exams, and I worked with the people. And it was really cool. And I've taught people English in the past, and I thought, why can't I do that now? All these people are talking about staying at home with the coronavirus. So I made a decision this week, and my decision was that I'm going to get my TESOL or TEFL certification and start teaching online. I found a bunch of companies that pay around $20 to $25 an hour. It's, it's something. And it would be steady. And I found out if I live here and work with Chinese children, I would end up working 6 to 10 every morning or 6 to 11 every morning and have the rest of the day free. I have to change my schedule a little bit, but it'll be worth it, I think, because I'll have the same amount of money I have now, and maybe even more actually. And then I could continue to make my show, and I can continue for the next 13 years until I get my actual retirement. When I turn 65, I could get my retirement. Maybe 64 if I decide to do it a year early. So something like that, hey, you know what? It might be worth it. All of this might be worth it. And I wasn't thinking this way for a while. You guys saw, and I know if you've been with me for a while, for a couple weeks I was really scared. It's just like I was really down. I was really depressed. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't really have like a direction because I was relying on my show to provide for me. And I thought, it's been a year and 3 months that should have been providing for me by now. And it's not. And I was really scared. I'm like, do what you love, the money will follow is a big fat plate of bullocks. It's just a big fat lie because it didn't happen to me. It didn't happen for me. I don't know what to do about that, but I might as well continue to serve God in a different way and then continue to serve God in this way as well. And when I say serve God, that means serving you guys. I'm here, always to help. And I love having my show, and this is one of my passions, but I've been kind of drifting. I've been thinking like, I'm going to make candy, and I had a place to put the candy, and if I make cookies, and, I know the guy will let me put the stuff in his shop. Well, his shop closed a month ago. Oh my God. That was one of my backup plans, and it just deleted itself from my world. And I thought, well, I could paint furniture for people, but I don't know how many people want that. You know what I mean? It's like such a niche thing, and I'll still do it. And I'm thinking about having a t-shirt shop, and all of a sudden I found all these graphic designers. Just randomly, I looked on Fiverr. I didn't think about that for that at all. I looked on Fiverr to promote my show, and all of a sudden, in my little the advertisements that come up for what's going on with Fiverr, suddenly all these graphic t-shirt and coffee mug designs. And I'm like, okay, because I started a Spreadshirt shop, but I haven't done anything with it because I don't know how to do the designs. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm just so lost with some of these things. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do that. And then I'll put maybe some of the proceeds of that will go to charity so I can help even more people. But that's still not enough to make a living and be solid. So I just made the decision this past week. I'm going to look into teaching, English online. I've already been doing it anyway. A couple people wrote me today on Instagram that didn't speak English very well. I was already teaching English to them. Already helping people. I'm always helping people with their English and their grammar, and it's just something that naturally I gravitate towards anyway, so might as well make money doing it. So this past week I looked, and I found a program I liked, and you can't know the price of the program until you give them your information, and then you find out, and so then you have to have that awkward phone call within 24 hours of how you don't have $1,400 to learn how to teach a language you already know to people. I could not believe my ears when this woman said that. And other programs are $1,000 to $1,200. I was just like, it's too freaking much, because when I first looked into teaching English 6 years ago, it was $259 to get a certification from the top schools on the planet. So now it's $1,400. The people they're greedy, they're crazy. It's the same module, you don't even have a teacher, it's a module. You just listen to the videos and you do the thing and you just read the thing, and you read the books or the PDFs, and it's easy, and no one has to be there babysitting you. You pay for the course, you finish it, you take the test, and then you talk to somebody. It's not that, so most of these are just they're like money mills. So I was just like, dude, this is crazy. So I found an article talking about these legitimate things that go through Groupon. So I was going to do that. And I looked into it, and each of these schools had different accrediting agencies. I looked up the accrediting agencies. They were on the thing. And then I checked it out all what I thought was thoroughly. And I started looking at everyone's comments, and one of them said, look, I learned a lot from it, but there's a lot of English mistakes in it, which is weird. It's it's almost not written by someone who even speaks English. And then other people said, look, I learned a lot. I got a job through this. So, all right, fine. $34 or whatever, I'm going to do it. And my son and I talked about it. He said he wanted to do it. So I went ahead and I bought it. And the next day, my son's like, you bought that? Get your money back immediately. That's crap. You were telling me about the reviews yesterday. There were good and bad reviews, but the bad reviews were really bad. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but I was thinking at least we get the certification, and someone's probably not going to, we'll find a company to work for that doesn't really totally check, right? As long as it says we took a 150-hour course, we're good. And he's like, Mom, I swear to God, he's like, I'm going to help you. We'll do what it takes to get the expensive course. Don't worry. We'll just figure it out. Cause I just, and he just was so adamant. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm fine. And I got my money back. Immediately I got my money back. Wasn't a big deal. And he's like, why didn't you go on Coursera to look that up? And I'm like, okay. And so that's a weird idea. Why didn't I do that? You're right. So I went to Coursera.org and I looked it up, you guys. You start with the University, or the State University of Arizona. No, ASU, Arizona State University. It's a real university. I have a friend that went there, actually. It's a real university, and they're accredited through, like, the main accrediting agency that all the universities are accredited through. And you get, like, your TESOL certification, and you literally start for absolutely free for 7 days, and then it's $49.95 a month until you're finished with the certification. And it takes 10 months if you only do 5 hours a week, but it's study at your own pace. So, I'm going to get that bad boy done in like less than 5 weeks if I can. But even if it costs me $100, it's worth it because it's from an actual university. And my son totally saved me. It was like this, like, I put my fat into fire and he pulled it right out. And it was just like one of those weird, like, there's something weird with money right now. I hope you guys are noticing it and that you're keeping your own butt out of the fire too, because it's just, and I was like, well, and even the other course actually, for $34, it might be enough, like, good information. It has different information than the course I'm getting ready to take. The one I'm getting ready to take, they don't talk about how to manage a classroom. They don't talk about business English. They don't talk about how to, so I might end up doing the other course also, kind of as a backup, like, not really a backup because the credential isn't, as legit, I guess, because I found out that the accrediting agency probably is also like another website that they just own, but still, like, it's half of the reviews that people say it's BS and half the reviews that people say it's amazing. And out of the ones that say it's amazing, only like 10 people said they've gotten a job with it. And the other people said they changed their mind at the last minute not to do that. So I thought that was also strange. That's another thing, because a lot of people want that and then they do it and they're like, boring, don't want to teach English, blah, whatever. And I've noticed that that's one of those weird fields. It's thousands of people have the certification and hardly anyone ever does it. Like, they'll cancel a trip at the last minute, or they'll go for 6 months and then they never use it again. They'll just have like, hey, this is my fun summer in Japan. And then that's it. But I'm like seriously considering, just doing this as my basic income, for the next 13 years. Because I gotta do something, and I don't know. It's one of those weird things, but I feel more hope anyway. At least I'm going to be all right, and things will be cool, and I don't know. It's just, things have been really weird though this week. I don't know if you guys have been aware of the weirdness. I'm sure you have in some ways. Like, Trevor Noah sang a song yesterday because he's not going to have a studio audience for a couple more months. All of the shows, I think the shows are going to go on, but there won't be any studio audience anymore. That's going to be really freaky. The whole world is being taken down by this stupid virus. It's crazy. But at the same time, all these other strange things are lining up. And some of it is just cracking me up. Some of it's just making me laugh so hard, like, because I could see the illusion of all of it. And I could see where all this stuff is just, everything's hitting the fan right now. I'm going to read something to you, and hopefully this will work. I'm going to open up on another screen here on my thing. Okay, so on Instagram, Hell's Bells Shells, that's the person I mentioned earlier, and she has a pretty amazing Insta feed if you want to follow her. And she's a friend of Joy's, and it's funny because I just saw her stuff. I'm like, oh my God, you're so right on, and I love your stuff. And all of a sudden she's like, well, I totally know who you are. And it's funny because like a year ago, Joy told me to listen to your show, and I forgot and got busy, and now she's a listener. So hey to you, Hell's Bells Shells. And I love her hashtag is Pleiadian. It's just hashtag Pleiadian right on her on her feed, and that's like so awesome. But she had this thing. I'm not sure. It was layer in a OG tarot. I don't know. I don't understand what that means really, but she like forwarded this from somebody else, and this is what it said, and this blew my mind. Because the person says, the new earth is coming, as I've been saying. This person said this. And then in Hell's Bells Shell, she says, the credit to Laren OG Tarot. Anyway, but she says she's also been saying these things since 2018. Do the damn research. And this is what it says, you guys. This blows my mind. The shadow government revealed. The new world order vulnerable. The elite occult trafficking exposed. The banking cartel spotlighted. The Hollywood illusion shattered. Media empire crumbling. Mass awakening beginning. And then this is what got me. We're watching the death of the control matrix in real time. So hopefully that recorded correctly, but I had to bring that up because that's what's happening. That's why the world is suddenly so chaotic, because all of the controls and the lies that have been put in place are just, we've been watching, even, and what's not even on the list is just the Catholic Church and all the churches, the Jesus Christ period churches as well. The one that, what I tried to explain that to you the other day. It's all just falling like a house of cards. In fact, this week in Cuenca, in Ecuador, they're having the Catholic Church. They have like this massive thing to expose the Catholic Church. They're having a conference to get the Catholic Church to actually make amends to the people who've been hurt by the priests, and to relinquish the priests so they can go to jail, because the sex abusers need to go to jail. I mean, Harvey Weinstein got 23 years. Bill Cosby, he's in jail. The people that abuse their power like that, they need to be gone. They can sit in jail and think about what they did for a while. 23 years is a good long while. And that's another one that's crumbling. It's just like poof. Just poof. Gone. And even though the money thing is still in place, I feel like it's not always going to be. I feel like there's going to be a time, and I feel it, and I sense it, and I feel it in my bones. Literally, I feel it in my cells of my body, that there's something so great coming that we don't even know what it is. And I feel like we're going to be a little bit, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. If you guys have ever read the Celestine Prophecy and all the books that came after, like the 10th Insight, and all those books, when Will just flits around from place to place, because he's in the 5th dimension, and he could just like think with his mind, and he just pops out, and then boop, pops back in somewhere else on the planet. I was thinking about this. I literally felt yesterday that it's a very real possibility, whereas before I always thought, how cool would that be? And now I'm thinking that's actually something that's coming for us. I'm not saying this week or next month, but it's very possible that this is going to be something that happens for us in the next couple years. Now, can you imagine wanting to sleep on a remote beach in Thailand? So you just pop on over there, relax, buy a couple saris, you know, those flowy pieces of fabric that are so beautiful with all the bright colors. Just wrap yourself in those like a blanket, sleep on the beach for 4, 5, 6 hours, and then just pop yourself over somewhere else, maybe to France for some lunch. Having a little cappuccino in an outdoor cafe, buy some flowers in the flower market, and then just pop yourself on over somewhere else. The redwood forest to meditate. I was thinking about it in a way that felt more real than has ever felt before, like a few days ago. Like maybe it was like yesterday or the day before. And my moments have been just all combining together. Like, I don't know. I've been feeling really physically strange, mentally strange, but better strange, good strange. I was trying to explain it this week and it's just impossible. Absolutely. I can't even get to it. Like, it's just so impossible. Because it's like, how can you explain the thing that cannot be explained? I'm doing my best, but it's just words, it can't do the feeling I'm feeling. It can't do it justice. It's like bubbly champagne bubbles inside of me. And each one of them is filled with love, and they don't pop. They're just there, bouncing around like excited molecules. And I feel like the control that things had over me before, it just doesn't exist anymore. And I was thinking about the thing with my cousin over the past 2 days. Like, it was just so crazy, but I was realizing that has absolutely no memory because she's I hopped timelines. And even since yesterday, I've hopped another timeline. So the thing that went on a couple days ago, who she is now on this timeline, she would have absolutely no memory of what happened. I hopped to a timeline where she's a better person, maybe. And the person that she was, that timeline might have collapsed, like who she was 6 years ago, being mean and coming after me. That might have been, it's a very real possibility that timeline collapsed. I know that timelines in which I was a crappy person, those collapsed. And it's almost like polishing ourselves off. Our souls are being polished off in a way that now we're shiny and new again. And we are reaching our best, highest self, consciously making the effort to be better people. It's popping us over to higher timelines. I feel it. I feel it when it's happening, usually. Or I'll go to bed and wake up a different person, and I'm like, I know I'm in a different timeline. Today outside, the sky had that platinum color, that kind of a bluish platinum, very pale color, and also at the exact same time had that rose gold color. It's just and they're just side by side each other, just like the Merkaba colors that I was shown in my channels this week. And then after a while, the sky got very gray and the energy was gray. Everything was very, very gray. Dark, like a charcoal gray. The sky was that color. The clouds were that color. The energy was that color. And it rained all day long. And yet, at the same time, I saw a golden light energy floating among these dark gray clouds. And it was like nighttime all day long today. Just dark gray clouds hanging over the city. And yet I felt like this cocooning energy. It was very lovely. And my son was going to go out and hang out with a friend, and he just decided not to. He was just like, I'm going to stay home. and we cooked together. We made a big, huge vegan stew. Like, so much vegetables. My God, we filled this massive pot that we have full of just vegetables, and put a little bit of olive oil in it, not a lot, a little bit of salt. It was excellent. It was bright red, and I said, okay, I'm naming this soup. We made it, we just made it up. I'm like, I'm naming this one Sunrise Soup. And it had beets and cauliflower and celery and carrots, onions, and I did garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, black pepper, white pepper, red pepper, also with the paprika, and made it very spicy soup. And it's bright red because of the beets. It's incredible, and it colored the cauliflower pink, so it looks like a sunrise or a sunset. And I thought sunset soup sounds a little depressing. So I'm like, we're calling this sunrise soup. This is beautiful. And that gave us hope. Even the soup itself gave us hope. We're eating it. We're like, wow, look at us. We're eating vegan. And my son made a vegan bread today without any dairy or eggs. He was inspired, and he did this incredible bread. And it's like really spongy. It's really good. It's whole grain. It had walnuts in it. And of course, I had to make it vegetarian, add butter to it. He didn't. He ate vegan all the way. And we were like, yeah, we've changed, and our vibrations are going higher and higher. We've been eating, for about 3 days, we've been eating, I haven't had animal flesh. I've eaten vegetarian with the butter, having the occasional cup of coffee with milk. But for the most part, I'm just eating, vegetarian, and my son's vegan. And we just changed overnight. It was like, it's time for us to vibrate at a higher rate, so let's do it. Let's eat the high vibrational food. And in a week when my friend says, hey, let's go get a steak, we'll see then if we're tempted. We might go, all right, well, we'll take one day off the vegan hood and go back and eat one steak, and then feel like crap and probably never ever do it again. But but it's an experiment we decided to do. Just let's try to eat vegan only. My son's every day he's going to this little market down the road and come back with fruit. And I came back with a bunch of vegetables the other day, so we have all these veggies. It's just been incredible. But I don't know. Things are changing. I feel things are changing in new and unusual ways, in surprising ways. I never thought I'd want to try a vegan diet ever. As I was a vegetarian for 9 years back in the third dimension, didn't work out. I almost died from it. If I'd gone vegan, I would have died from it. It's just so strange. But now my body's changed. And I feel the changes. I feel how gross I feel when I even eat a piece of chicken, whereas before that was light food for me. And now I'm literally eating brightly, orange, pink, red, and that energy, my body's absorbing the energy of it, that bright light energy. So I don't know, I just feel, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's all good though. It's all good, man. It's all good, man, for real. All right, so spaceweather.com, solar wind speed today is 390.5 kilometers per second. It's picked up a little bit since yesterday. No sunspots, absolutely blank on the sunspots. We've now gone 4 days without a sunspot. 4 days again. So obviously solar minimum is continuing to be underway, which makes it easier for us to be bombarded with more cosmic radiation. There are absolutely no deep coronal holes on the Earth side of the sun still. That little spot that's not even a sunspot is just kind of a brighter, the fiery, this new picture, it's just moved over to the right a little bit, that's it, but it hasn't developed into anything. That's it. 9 fireballs were seen over the United States today, on Friday the 13th. And that's pretty much it for the space weather news. They're talking about the radiation in the upper atmosphere in the Arctic if you have any interest in that, it's a pretty neat article. Again, that's spaceweather.com. So, disclosurenews.it, basically, we're power 42, they call it power now, it's a hertz frequency. So, basically, that's it. They just had oscillations, amplitude around 10 hertz frequency. Then there's a strong peak that led to the amplitude at power 42. And then everything went to like a slight background activity. And that was the strongest of the day, just 42. Light movements continued with a final jump to 13. And then after that was calm. So that was it for the day over there and in Italy, I guess. Now, heartmath.org, they have a little bit different story. So we're going to tell that one now. And again with the 13th, today is the 13th, Friday the 13th. I hope you guys don't have fear of the number 13 or triskaidekaphobia. Some people do. I like it. My son and I were talking about today, and he said, 13 has been coming up a lot lately, but it is the number of goddess Hecate. It is the number of death, and we are death walkers, and we live at a crossroads. Literally in front of our building is a crossroads. I don't know if I told you guys, I think I might have a few weeks ago, might have mentioned it, that there were these really strange happenings where motorcyclists would get stuck directly in front of my bedroom window, 3 stories down. Like, it happened like 3 times in a week. It was like the weirdest thing. They just they're going along the road, everything's fine, just boom, like nothing. And they couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't like they didn't run out of gas. 3 times in a row it happened. In a week. It was like, it happened once, and then like the next day it happened again, and then 2 days later it happened again. So it was like, over the course of like 4 days, 3 motorcyclists stopped right in front of the building, right in front of my window. And they were like embarrassed and bewildered and looking around like, what the hell is anyone looking at me? And like really upset. Calling for the transito. Transito is like not the transito police, but the transito or transport. It's transporte mixto. Transportes mixto. Yeah. So basically mixed transport trucks, and they're like taxis for things, and that's one of the coolest things they have down here. If you need to move, you don't hire a mover, you don't set a bid, you don't go and get a U-Haul, you don't rent a truck, you literally just go to the place where the mixed transport is, and you tell them what you need and when you're going to need it, and they'll just show up at your house, and it's just like a taxi. And it costs like $6. It's like the easiest freaking thing. It's a man with a truck. If you want him to help you, it might be an extra $10. Otherwise, you just fill up his truck while he has a smoke. You buy him a thing of water or whatever, and bada boom, bada bing. Life is so much easier in South America. It's so much less complicated. Life is not necessarily better in the third world nations when you have to worry about insurance, and you gotta hire the men, and they gotta label all the boxes. It's just like the mixed transport people, man. You could just load up their truck with plastic bags full of your towels. They don't care. It's just so easy. Life is very easy here compared. It's so much less complicated. It cracks me up, all the paperwork and the busyness that people busy themselves with. And when you go to work at a company, there's so much paperwork. Why I don't see it here as much. Things are very low-key, and I like it. Anyway, all right, so let's go to heartmath.org. I want to talk about this for a minute. So California started off at midnight at 10 hertz frequency, and by 4 a.m. they were at 0 hertz frequency. This freaky stuff. Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, they've been at 0 all the way across the board. Lithuania started off at 131. That's really high. 131 hertz frequency on the Schumann Resonance scale at midnight, but by 4 a.m. They were at 133. Like those synchronistic numbers, 133. Love the 33. Alberta, Canada started off at 53 hertz frequency at midnight, and by 4 a.m. they were at 62. So they did go up. And Northland, New Zealand was at 39 hertz frequency at midnight, and by 4 a.m. they went down to 38 hertz frequency. And the winner, they've been the winner usually, Hulului, South Africa, they started off at midnight at 226 hertz frequency, and by 4 a.m. they were at 228. And they had gone up, though, to 230 at 3 a.m. But so 230 is like the big number for the day. There it is. So some of them went down to 0 and some of them went up, like in the hundreds and 200s hertz frequency. And people are still spousing off about the Schumann Resonance being 42. Ooh, that's not the Schumann Resonance. That's one of them. There's a resonance in every city on the planet, and at every point in between every city. So there it is for that. All right, so lesson 254. That's where we are in the Course in Miracles. You can go to acim.org, which is the website for the Foundation for Inner Peace. I love these lessons because I have a high vibration about them, and if you want to take them on your own, there's an app. There's a whole bunch of apps, or you can just go to acim.org. It's free and always will be. Lesson 254 is this. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Father, today I would but hear your voice. In deepest silence I would come to you to hear your voice and to receive your word. I have no prayer but this. I come to you to ask you for the truth. And truth is but your will, which I would share with you today. Today we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. When such thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them, and then we let them go. We do not want what they would bring with them, and we do not choose to keep them. They are silent now, and in the stillness, hallowed by His love, God speaks to us and tells us of our will, as we have chosen to remember Him. Let every voice but God's be still in me. All right, so that's lesson 254. In the event you want to look it up and read it again. So, all right, guys. I'm going to see what kind of business we could talk about here. Worldometers.info. My God, there's lots of freaking coronavirus news. We're going to get through this, and then we're going to take a break. And when we take a break, we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the earth changes that have been going on. But coronavirus is the number one, so check it out. 145,341 cases so far have been recorded. Now, this doesn't reflect accurately how many cases are in the world. Keep in mind, not everywhere, United States included, not everywhere has the test kits. And not everybody who's sick goes to the doctor. So far, out of the cases that they do know about, there have been 5,416 deaths. This is a huge number now. Remember, SARS was only 80-something deaths, and that was considered to be like a scare, right? So 70,931 people have recovered, which is good. It's a good sign. Bad news is, last week I reported 6% of the known cases resulted in death, but now 7% of the known cases have resulted in death. So there's been a lot more resolution, if you want to call it that. So 7%. So you still have a 93% chance of passing this test, of getting it and getting better. Take care of yourself. Wash your hand. Don't touch face. Social distance. Don't touch other people. Cover your face. You know how to do all this. Go back a couple weeks and listen to my ways that you can kill viruses in your immediate environment, your home, using natural alternative methods and therapies. So there's some weird stuff going on, okay? And the number one thing is there have been absolutely 0 people dying in China today. It's the first time since this thing started. Only 3 people have gotten it today. 3 brand new cases in China. 3, that's hardly anything. There have been 3,177 deaths in China so far. So let's pray for China. Okay, so 64,000 people, though, did recover in China. So today has been the worst day in the history of the coronavirus. In Italy, 250 people died. That's huge. That's a huge number. In Iran, 85 people died. In Italy today, the new cases, 2,547 new cases. In Iran, 1,289 new cases. In Spain today, 2,086 brand new cases. And 47 people died in Spain. Those are the bigger numbers. You could go to worldometers.info and check out all this stuff for yourself. In the UK, 208 new cases and 1 death today. So, in the UK. In Netherlands, 5 people died today. 190 new cases in the Netherlands. Belgium, 160 people now have been tested positive for coronavirus. President Trudeau's wife, let's send her some love and light. She has coronavirus. President Trump shook the hands of a man from Brazil who tested positive a few days later for coronavirus. And he had contacted 2 other Republicans who have now self-quarantined. Why is the president still shaking hands? A coronavirus conference was canceled this week because of coronavirus. I mean, crazy stuff. This is a crazy world we live in right now. It's a crazy world we live in right now. I'm not going to go through all of the news, but, 1 person died in the Ukraine today. It's the first death in the Ukraine. So there's only 2 active cases in the Ukraine right now. And that's good. Let's keep it that way, right? It's crazy. There's 2 new cases here in Ecuador where I live. I think they're still, in relationship. Probably the people who are treating the lady that's very sick. So, coronavirus expert Dr. Anthony Fauci from the United States, he said these kind of things generally run out in a few months. Hopefully we'll make it several weeks, 8, 9, or whatever weeks, but he says he can't give you a number. Depends on how successful we are with mitigation and containment measures. So earlier today, he said that it's certainly going to get worse before it gets better. The crisis will last for at least several weeks, possibly 2 months or more, though. We don't know. Complete shutdown has happened in Italy and China, and it's not off the table for the United States. We just have to respond as things evolve over the days and over the weeks, obviously, right? So the worst case scenario by the CDC, if no actions are taken, they say between 160 million and 214 million people in the United States could be infected in the worst case scenario. An infectious disease specialist, Dr. Lawler, said a best guess projections will probably affect 96 million people. This could last months or even over the course of a year if nothing is done. So you guys, be healthy, be safe, be well, wash your hands. Be very careful with this. They're thinking it's very possible that up to 1.7 million people could die. He thinks that 480,000 deaths might be conservative in the United States. Now, this flu season, 20,000 to 50,000 people have already died from flu-related illnesses. This season alone already in the U.S. They're thinking up to 21 million people might require hospitalization in the United States from this. This will crush the United States medical system. They only have 925,000 staffed hospital beds. Fewer than a tenth are those available are for people that are critical. A lot of countries have shut down. You could go check out the list on worldometers.info. The Czech Republic, Turkey, Pakistan, Oman, Iraq, Germany, Qatar. They have entry ban lists there in those last three. Qatar, Ukraine now have closed its borders, which they should. They only have 2 people sick. Hopefully, let's contain it. Israel, there's 14-day quarantine for anyone who enters the country, period. Slovakia, India, and now the travel ban in the United States. So, the highest number of deaths per day in the whole world ever happened today in Italy with the 250. And 2,547 new cases. What's going on in Italy? Why is it so high? I don't know. Is it a culture where people don't wash their hands and they constantly kiss each other and shake each other's hands? Could be. Could be. I don't know. I haven't been there. I don't know what's going on over there. But let's just pray for the whole world. Let's pray for everyone who has suffered and died from this, the families that are left behind to pick up the pieces, and let's just keep holding the light. Don't panic. Everything is in perfect and divine order, and it always will be. Of this, I 100% believe. And take a quick break, guys. When I come back, we're going to go over the Earth changes news and see what's been going on for the past week. Hopefully, we'll have some moments of weird news, something to ease on into our weekend with some lighthearted information. I'll be right back after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
We can make a difference in our own small way.
It's one small change, we can do that today. Our mind's getting bigger while the world's getting smaller.
But saving the earth's becoming a tall order. From the minute you awake from your nightly nap, you can make little changes like turning off the tap
While brushing your teeth in the bathroom.
You can cycle or walk your way to the classroom.
Cut down the fuel you used to get to school.
Pile in, let's carpool.
In your lunchbox, cut down the plastic. See, these things aren't too drastic.
Spread the word, get vocal.
Make it go global.
When buying food, stay local. Never mind the dishwasher, do it by hand. But I hate washing up.
Ah, come on, it's grand.
Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. Since we found out the earth was sick, we knew we had to do something quick.
The earth is our family and our friend.
We need to mend it before it ends.
This is our home, so don't destroy it. Everyone should do their bit.
Ice caps melting, seas getting high.
Homes will be flooded.
Polar bears will die.
The sun's getting hotter. The rain won't fall. I'm afraid we won't survive at all. Recycle the plastic, please. It's free.
You don't want that ending up in the sea. It's like people use this planet as a bin. Pick up your trash, that's where you begin.
Temperature is rising. We are realizing. We must act now. There's no compromising.
Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. If you cut down flowers and trees, you contribute to the mass extinction of the bees. Think of the creatures that don't have a say. There has to be a better way. There's no higher being to save the earth. We've got to do something before we get hurt.
At school, we know what to do.
But my question is, do you? Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future.
It's our earth.
We need to protect it for what it's worth.
Alright guys, this is the Friday the 13th edition, Earth Changes, and Weekly World Weird News Report. I think I might have some fun stories at the end of the night, so send you off into your weekend having some fun and cool stories. Unless you're a commuter and you take my excuse me, unless you take my Friday show and listen to it on Monday. A lot of you do the commuting thing, and I get it, guys. I mean, I was a commuter for years, for school and work, and it's always nice to be able to listen to something cool, and I'm so grateful we can download podcasts now. I think that's neat. So I wanted to thank you guys for those of you who actually listen during your morning commute, and hopefully you might get a few weeks off. So hey, you don't have to commute. You can still listen, make your coffee, sit in your bed in your pajamas. If coronavirus is giving you the opportunity to relax at home, I hope you can still listen to the show and, hey. But I think it's going to change the world. I think this corona thing is just weird. It's changing the world. It's weird. I wonder how many people are forced to stay home and not go to work. And when it's time to go back to work, they quit because they're like, dude, nah, I'm going to stay home now. It's going to all change. Everything's going to be crazy. We'll see. Maybe basic income will be implemented everywhere because people are going to realize they just don't want to work anymore. I don't know. Something will happen. Something's happening of this. There's going to be like the weirdest silver lining coming out of this. Just watch. All right. Let's get into it. I get my news source is watchers.news, and they get their news from other places around the world. Watching the world evolve and transform. That is the Watchers tagline. So I like it. I think it's cool. The Hunab Ku is the artwork on their website. I love it. So here we go. The 2019-2020 winter season in Europe was the continent's warmest winter since the records began in 1855. Crazy, right? This is according to the Copernicus Climate Services Bulletin that was released on the 5th of March. Now, last month was also the second warmest February, not only for Europe, but also for the whole world. Crazy, right? All right, warm weather records. This one's pretty crazy. A meteorite reportedly hit the ground near a railway station in Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. They said that the event took place during heavy rains, according to the local media reports. And the railway station was the Sahibabad railway station in the city of Ghaziabad in India, state of Uttar Pradesh. And they said it was like a loud thunder-like sound that was heard right before the meteor hit. Yeah, it's interesting. You can go read the rest of this on watchers.news if you want. This is on page 2. We only have 2 pages today. I was really grateful for that. I thought we might have 3. And upon further inspection, no. We're good. 2 pages again. So that's good. Not a lot of extra news, According to Nature Astronomy, they have revealed the first images of an asteroid called 2 Pallas, P-A-L-L-A-S, spelled like Pallas Athenas. And this includes the heavily cratered surface, which kind of reveals the violent history. It's been kind of dinged up a lot. It's 15% of the moon's diameter, which is 318 miles. It's the 3rd largest asteroid. That's in the actual asteroid belt after Ceres and Vesta. So that's pretty cool. They've been able to study the surface in greater detail. The scientists that are studying it are using the spectropolarimetric high contrast exoplanet research imager, otherwise known as SPHERE. That's rather clever. On their very large telescope, literally it's called Very Large Telescope, to examine this. So There are massive craters on the asteroid, one in the south, one in the equator part. And they're like, they've been hit, this asteroid's been hit with projectiles 60 to 90 kilometers or 37 to 65 miles. I guess across, it's not really saying that. I guess that's how, sideways, that's how far across, can you imagine 65 miles of your surface has been damaged? It must suck to be an asteroid. They say it's very similar to a golf ball. So, very interesting. If you have an interest in learning more about this third largest object in the asteroid belt, you can go check it out. Now, Pakistan needs our prayers because 27 people were killed, 56 were injured due to heavy rains that hit in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area of Pakistan. They had widespread rain, strong winds, thunderstorms, and they expected it to continue throughout the week. So, love and prayers to Pakistan. NASA's Curiosity rover has snapped its largest, highest resolution panoramic ever of Mars. And we have 1.8 billion pixels. It's a view of Glen Torridon, the region on the flanks of Mars Mount Sharp. So, it just looks like a normal valley without any plants. I mean, it just looks kind of boring to me. I don't know what the big deal is about Mars. Why do we want to go over there? I mean, to me, it just looks like the California desert without the plants. Seems a little boring to me personally, but yeah, maybe it'd be good for a visit. Just for the weekend. Where are you wintering this year, darling? I'm wintering on Mars. Oh, well, we are opting for the outer reaches of Jupiter. I mean, do you suppose that's going to be someday the conversation? That's going to be a crazy conversation. All right. It's like, why? Why are we going to Mars? I don't get it. Look around, I suppose. So I don't even understand this one I'm looking at. ESO study looks into impact of mega satellite constellations on space observations. A new study has been commissioned by the European Southern Observatory, or ESO, evaluated the effects of mega constellations on astronomical observations and scientific research, as astronomers recently expressed concerns over its impact. What is a mega satellite constellation? You know what? I'm going to skip this one for now. You guys can actually go check it out, though, if you want to read more into that. A mega satellite constellation. I'm going to see. Maybe this week I'll learn more. A detailed study using information from the European Space Agency's, or ESA, another one like that, Climate Change Initiative, CCI, revealed that while there was a small increase in fires in 2019 in the Amazon compared to 2018, actually the blazes parallel the average yearly number of, I guess square miles or whatever that are burned. So it isn't as big of a deal as we thought it was when you look at how much normally burns versus how much burned this last time. More burned than normal. But hey, you know what? Information is golden. It's good to know. It's not overall not as bad as we thought, even though it was bad, There's a newly discovered asteroid if you want to read about it. I'm not going to read about it because there's so many. It's 2018 asteroids right now out there floating around. We're just in that part, like our solar system travels through, the galaxy, which travels through the universe. And our planet, it's like we're all like, all of our planets, we're just, recently we entered into this region where there's like so many fireballs and meteorites and asteroids and God knows what else. Just interesting. The fireball really is a meteorite that's literally on fire as it approaches the atmosphere. There's a lot of stuff, though. A lot of just stuff flying at us these days. So, speaking of that, researchers have found more evidence of a catastrophic cosmic impact 12,800 years ago. It possibly caused the total destruction of Abu Hurairah. I can't even say it. Hurairah. There we go. Hurairah in Syria. And this is the site believed to be one of the first towns on Earth where hunter-gatherers and nomads, I'm waiting for this to load, decided to settle down. So one of the first towns, like, ever. And this marks a significant event in human history. But it was the site of this massive, catastrophic cosmic impact 12,800 years ago. This is before the Cappabue Dam seized the Euphrates River in northern Syria in the 1970s. There was a historical site called Abu Hurairah, where ancient nomads first resided, marks the first settlement with a large mound that now lies beneath Lake Assad. The mound is 1,600 feet across, 26 feet deep, contained more than 1 million cubic meters of archaeological deposits, which is 35 million cubic feet. Abu Hurairah, situated on a plateau near the southern banks of the Euphrates River, 75 miles east of Aleppo. It's one of the oldest cities in the world. It's now an archaeological site with massive accumulations of debris and lost objects. Even though the ancient settlement now lies under the lake, archaeologists were able to retrieve objects and define what lies beneath the surface, including remnants of houses, tools, as well as food. I wonder what they ate. Very interesting. The materials were used as evidence that allowed them to determine the transition to farming 12,800 years ago. This is a remarkable event in the Earth's cultural and ecological history. Among the rubbles of the ancient settlement, the researchers found a melt glass. Some of the features of it indicated that likely it had been formed by extremely hot temperatures, and which is hotter than what humans at that period could achieve. Enter in the alien brothers, right? Maybe. I don't know. Moreover, it could be attributed to lightning, or volcanism or fire. All right. To help with the perspective, according to James Kennett, Emeritus Professor of Geology at UC Santa Barbara, he says, such high temperatures would completely melt an automobile in less than a minute. And that's what they found at this site. That's crazy. And such levels of intensity could only have resulted from an extreme brutal phenomenon, which had high velocity and energy, much like on the order of a space impact. Before the site was inundated, beneath the water of Lake Assad, researchers managed to gather a significant amount of evidence, suggesting that Abu Hurairah is the first ancient site to document the direct impacts of a fragmented comet on a human settlement. That's crazy. The impact contributed greatly to the extinction of most ancient large animals, notably mammoths, camels, and American horses. In addition, the comet crash was so intense that it was also to be believed to have led to the loss of the North American Clovis culture. Wow. They say that they think this happened at the end of the Pleistocene epoch. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole article, but this is really huge. Very interesting that they figured this out. Man. All right, there's a couple reports here of the COVID-19, but, we've already kind of covered that, right? Is that right? Oh, goodness. I had to wait for it to load. Woo! Okay. Basically, it's just talking about the 16 million people in Italy that are now under lockdown as a result of COVID-19. And we know what's going on in Italy, so crazy stuff. All right. There's another article about supernovas. There's a lot of stuff about space this week. That's interesting. Supernovas, neutron stars, and black holes break all the rules, including white dwarfs also, and supernovae. Supernovae means, it's a plural of supernova. But there was an interview with Wal Thornhill, Chief Science Advisor of the Thunderbolts Project. So if you want to read that, I might read that later myself. I'm going to move right along though. Amateur astronomers discover a new type of rare pulsating star. Very interesting. All right. I decided to bite. I'm going to read this one. Okay. An unusual teardrop-shaped star that only pulsates on one side has been discovered by amateur astronomers who saw the anomaly in data taken by NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS. It's reported that this is the first of its kind. Scientists are hoping to locate more similar systems as the technology used to study the stars further improves. Now, what first caught my attention was the fact that it was a chemically peculiar star, said study co-author Dr. Simon Murphy from the University of Sydney's Institute for Astronomy. He says stars like this are usually fairly rich with metals, but this one is a metal poor, making it a rare type of a hot star. This is 1.7 times the mass of the Sun. It's located in the Milky Way galaxy. It's 1,500 light years from Earth. And stars are known to pulsate, and even the Sun displays this kind of activity due to hot gas whipping beneath the surface that causes the oscillations. All pulsating stars are similar to that in that the pulsating can be observed on all sides of the star, until the discovery of this unusually teardrop-shaped star, as it appears to be pulsating only on one hemisphere of its surface. Now, we've known theoretically that stars like this should exist since the 1980s, says co-author Don Kurtz, also an inaugural Hunstead Distinguished Visitor at the University of Sydney from Britain's University of Central Lancashire. He added, "I've been looking for a star like this for 40 years. Now we have finally found one." So the researchers were also able to identify why the star is behaving in such a peculiar manner. It is one of two stars in a binary system, coupled with a red dwarf. In this case, the two stars orbit each other very closely, and then they whip around each other in less than 2 Earth days. And given the proximity, the red dwarf's gravitational pull will deform the larger star's pulsations, thereby distorting the star into a teardrop shape instead of the usual sphere. Astronomers were able to spot the star while looking for signals of planets around other stars. Many planets and exoplanets have been discovered to orbit red dwarfs. So you can go and read the rest of the article, but we have to move on. Again, that's Watchers.news, and this story is on right now, as of Friday. It's on page 2. So then it goes to the next article where it says now that the entire population of Italy, instead of 16 million people, now there's 60 million people under a quarantine lockdown because of COVID-19, according to the Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. He said in a press conference on Monday. So there we go. Got to pray for Southern Africa, guys. More than 100,000 people in Southern Africa are still suffering a year after the catastrophic tropical cyclones Idai and Kenneth. So particularly, this has been hard for Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. So this was last year, March 14th, 2019. So this is like a year ago tomorrow. And they're still suffering. So let's just send love and light if you can. Maybe there's a way we could go to the Red Cross or something and send them some actual foodstuffs. I'm sending them love and light right now, actually. All right. Dengue fever outbreak has hit Indonesia. That's just what everyone needs. Oh my God. 100 fatalities have already been reported. 16,099 cases already since January. Wow. So let's just send prayers to Indonesia. Dengue fever. Man. Five Oaks has raised the alert status of Canleon volcano, Negros Island, from alert level 0, normal, to alert level 1, abnormal. This is in the Philippines. The decision was made due to the increased seismic activity and swelling. So that's at, I can't even say this, Canleon, maybe? So they're on level 1, alert level 1, so. Heavy rains, floods, and landslides have claimed 60 lives in Rwanda. 1,000 homes have been damaged. So, that's according to the Ministry of Emergency Management, MINEMA. Very strange acronym there. So, I guess what we're doing is we're going to send sunshine to Rwanda. We're going to send love and light and imagine crops in South Africa, in those other 3 countries, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Malawi. And dengue fever, I don't know, I guess we have to send sunshine there because sunshine does tend to kill germs. I don't know. There's a lot of people that need our love and our light. If we can just, for a moment, take our time every day and just, you could beam it all over the whole planet and let it go where it wants, or you can specifically pray for these places. In Iran, 24,000 people have been affected by severe flooding. Let's send them sunshine. Heavy downpours started around the 24th of February, and it's led to damage in properties and crops, disruptions to power and services, widespread flooding in the region in Iran. So now, coronavirus obviously is a lot of news. A lot of the news today is about this. So the World Health Organization did declare COVID-19 as a global pandemic, expects to see the number of cases and deaths affecting countries, the affected countries, number of countries, as well as number of people in the countries, climb even higher. You know, we already went over, I mean, this was just 3 days ago, and there was only 4,500 cases of people who have died, and now it's well over 5,000. It's like 1,000 people in 2 days, 3 days. A new study reveals that Earth and the Moon are not made of the same stuff. Challenges the prevailing theory of how the Moon has formed. The new study was conducted by scientists at University of New Mexico. And it revealed that the Earth and the Moon have different oxygen isotopes compositions, and they are therefore not identical in oxygen as previously was believed. I never thought it was like made from the Earth or something. I never thought it was like... I think it's just a satellite that showed up one day and all of a sudden just never stopped being... it's just kind of weird. The moon is weird. I love you, Luna. Just in case she hears me. Astronomers accidentally discover rare eclipse of 2 brown dwarfs. There's a lot of space news this week. Very interesting, right? An international team of astronomers searching for potentially habitable alien planets made an accidental discovery of 2 brown dwarfs eclipsing each other. And these are the astronomers that were working on a project called the Search for Habitable Planets. So, a search for habitable planets eclipsing ultra cool stars, I think. I don't know. Very interesting. I'm not going to go into that one though because we're having some pretty... We have some more stuff to go on here. Weekly volcanic activity report. Brand new unrest and activity has been reported for 3 volcanoes this week, including San Gay, Ecuador, which has been on and off anyway, San Miguel in El Salvador, and in Eastern Java, Semeru. And the ongoing activity that's just been going on all the time, 12 volcanoes. So we have like just 15. Normally we have 20 to 21. So it's actually the volcanic activity's gone down for the week. In India, fresh snowfall and landslides strand more than 1,500 vehicles on the highway in Jammu, Srinagar. This is the road that links Kashmir with the rest of India. The highway was closed and a new round of heavy rain, snow, and landslides occurred. So I think we need to send them some sunshine, man. In Egypt, this is crazy. A very rare cyclone over the Middle East put Egypt in a position where they had to declare a state of emergency. So this powerful storm that's been developing over Egypt is expected to move northeast, posing threats to other Middle Eastern countries, including Jordan, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. This is a very rare weather system, and it's capable of producing heavy winds, heavy rains, all that. Just send them some sunshine to the Middle East. That's very rare, man. In Chile, an alert has been raised for Antillanca Casablanca volcano or volcanic complex. Now, the last time it erupted was 230 years before the Common Era, so over 2,000 years ago. They've detected a swarm of 73 tremors. And the alert level has been raised to yellow. So we're going to keep an eye on that in the next week or two. See what's going on there. In Russia, a blizzard has disrupted power and travel to thousands in Sakhalin Island. 74-mile-an-hour winds hit this island, and the severe weather caused widespread disruptions to power, travel, and classes, affecting thousands of people. So, sunshine to Russia also. According to a myth told by the Aborigines of southeastern Australia, this was passed down for generations for 37,000 years, this myth. And I guess it was that an ancestral creator being transformed into a volcano, now known as Mount Eklis, or the extinct Buj Bim. Well, I guess new scientific evidence indicates that Aboriginal myth of a volcanic eruption 37,000 years ago is actually based on a real geological event. I just don't know why scientists insist on assuming that native people are idiots and that their stories are myths and not at all real or true. People aren't as imaginative as we believe. When you hear these kind of wild stories, it's probably most likely something that actually occurred, in my opinion anyway. I'm not saying that we don't have imagination, but some of the stuff that is real is just so wild and fantastical that there's no way anyone can make it up. It's definitely based on something real. Anyway, if you want to read that article, it's on the Watchers.news. So yeah, 37,000 years ago, there was a volcanic eruption, and no one believed it was even a volcano, but there you have it. It is, and now there's finally scientific evidence to back up what the natives have been saying the whole time. It's so annoying. Alright, Japan, there's a lava dome growing at Nishinoshima volcano. The coastline has been expanding due to constant lava flows. So that's pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on geologically too. Crazy. Heavy snow and flash floods have threatened to continue across the western United States. Severe thunderstorms are possible across West Texas and eastern New Mexico, with heavy snows continuing among the mountainous areas throughout the weekend. They're saying heavy snow. It's not normal for snow to be in those regions. The world is indeed changing. There's been a strong earthquake that has hit near Grindavik, and it's the largest since 2013 in Iceland. 4.9 kilometers or 3 miles northeast of the city of Grindavik. The earthquake was 5.2 on the Richter scale, and it struck at a depth of 3.8 miles. And it was felt in large areas of southwest Iceland. So so maybe we'll see some volcanic activity over there in Grindavik soon. Now this is a really crazy one, guys. Destructive sinkholes have been forming in Gauteng, swallowing up homes and roads in South Africa. Numerous sinkholes are forming in the Kutsong suburb outside Carletonville, West Rand, South Africa, in the Gauteng province, swallowing homes and roads. As a result, more than 25,000 residents. Wow. 25,000 residents are going to be forced to evacuate and transferred to government subsidy housing because of sinkholes. What the hell is going on? That's crazy. Severe thunderstorms and very large hail strike parts of the central United States. Hailstones up to 2 inches in diameter and severe thunderstorms have hit parts of the central U.S., including Illinois, Arkansas, Kentucky, and nearby areas. And that's been happening since Wednesday. A lot of power outages for 3,000 people in those regions. Worst storm since 1994 has hit Egypt, causing widespread flooding and sandstorm. We went over this a minute ago. 5 people have lost their lives now, though. The widespread damage has been reported and water and power supplies being disrupted. Wow. This is crazy stuff, man. A late winter storm has dumped heavy snow on Calgary and much of Alberta's southern areas in Canada. So, as a late winter storm moved over the province, a snowfall warning was expected to stay in place, I guess, was effective for Calgary until Saturday. A major snowstorm blanketed much of the region. So there you have it. Those are the articles. That's the Earth changes. So not a lot of actual Earth changes today. It was more like space changes or discoveries. But there is a lot of flooding and people having disruption of power. But those kind of stories were so much more plentiful last week, I believe. I think the biggest thing was the biggest news really is the coronavirus, honestly. Alright, so now we're going to get to some weird news. Love the weird news. So I guess the first one is kind of funny. About 10 hours ago, a kangaroo was caught eating toilet paper in a campground bathroom in Australia. So, very different kind of toilet paper shortage. According to upi.com/odd news, or odd-news. So this one is really weird, guys. A unicorn puppy has one ear in the middle of her head. She's this cute dog, but she only has one ear and it's on top of her head. And they're calling her the unicorn puppy. Jude DeKoff, I know you're going to love this one. A golden retriever puppy in Michigan has been branded a unicorn due to the unusual facial feature, only having one ear, single ear, positioned on top of her head. Ray, which is ear, spelled backwards, that's her name, Ray, was brought to Family Friends Veterinary Hospital in Grand Rapids as a newborn because she required emergency surgery. Now, the 12-week-old puppy is in the care of Brianna Ardema, who was one of the caring people who watched over Ray at the hospital. She said, "The minute I saw her, I knew I wanted to raise her and be there for her, even though I knew the road to recovery would not be easy." That's what she said on Good Morning America. Ray was dubbed a unicorn by hospital staff due to her unusual ear, and she soon found viral fame thanks to a video on TikTok and an Instagram account. Ardema said there is no name for Ray's condition, but that the dog's existing ear was originally on the side of her head, but started rising to the top after the surgery. She's an amazing, brave, tough little girl who has the most confidence of any puppy I've ever known. What? Things are so strange in the world today, but this dog is like adorable. I love golden retrievers. I don't even. It's just so strange, dude. So strange. Alright, so in Massachusetts, a college has decided to hold a fomencement. It's like a commencement, but, graduation, but it's not. So it's a fomencement, F-A-U-X. They decided to dress in garbage bag gowns and yarn tassels to replace their likely canceled graduation ceremony. This is the Olin College of Engineering. It's finishing its semester online due to coronavirus fears. They're unlikely to hold an in-person graduation ceremony in the late spring, hence the faux commencement. The fake commencement. They thought this is a pretty awesome idea in a very challenging time. So there we go. They made caps fashioned out of paper. They're yarn tassels and wore graduation gowns made from trash bags. And it's amazing this is happening right now, Somerville said. Mark Somerville, the Dean of Faculty. It's a testament to what Olin is as a community. He says, it kind of makes me want to cry, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm going to read a couple of these headlines here on UPI. A message in the sky over Australia, wash hands. A skywriter encouraged healthy habits amid the coronavirus, and he scrawled the words, wash hands in the sky over Sydney, Australia. A dog walker meets a loose wallaby in Scotland. What? And I guess there's an escaped wallaby in Scotland, probably from the zoo. A San Francisco career resource company is offering an unusual dream of its own. Get paid $1,000 to spend St. Patrick's Day watching Irish movies. So Zippia's $1,000 St. Patrick's Day dream job. And that's what they're looking for, someone to do that. I would do that. I love Irish movies. That's crazy. St. Patrick's Day, by the way, it's coming up on the 17th. It's Tuesday. We're going to have St. Patty's Day. So, alright, let's see. There's a bunch of stuff about animals. This is really strange. A Canadian band has now played the world's deepest underground concert. So they went underground 6,213 feet below sea level and played a 50-minute concert. And now they've broken the Guinness Book of World Records for deepest underground concert. Didn't even know that was a thing. Wow. $6 in leftover change has led a Michigan woman to a lottery jackpot. And she earned a prize of $25,000 a year for the rest of her life. So, hey, good for her. Another wallaby story. A police officer rescued a struggling wallaby off Australian beach. That's kind of more of a normal place to find a wallaby, isn't it? So God bless the wallabies. That's strange. So a Nevada man has captured a 35-pound, 3-ounce carp, and that broke the state record for largest carp. A British amusement arcade owner has replaced the toys inside his business's claw machines with toilet paper amid shortages of the product. What the actual hell? Like, if you really need a roll of toilet paper, I mean, do you want to sit at the claw machine trying to grasp for it? That just seems mean. That just seems like straight up mean. In Florida, a cow with surprising speed has evaded the police for months. It's evaded capture due to its surprising speed and amazing fence jumping skills. Wow. Somebody doesn't want to get caught, and you know what? Good for her. Good for her. Alright, so let's see. We have a couple more stories. There's one that looked really interesting. There's just a funny headline. I'm just going to say the headline. A family accidentally orders $2,153 worth of toilet paper. Wow. That's, I don't even want to read the story, but that's kind of funny in a way. A record-breaking tooth was pulled by a dentist in India. I don't know how big it is, but oh, it's long. Ew, that's nasty. I'm not going to even look at that. A woman has been seeking a Guinness Book of World Record for collecting 1,456 beaver-related items. It's another one of those things. I can't even with that, though. I think we're on our last story, guys. Oh my gosh. And of course, this one's actually starts off in Spanish. That's fun. There's all these animal stories, like a snake slithering out of a bag of potatoes in someone's home. Oh, that'd be like the weirdest, creepiest feeling. Like, what? All right, so there was a loose lion in Spain. Lots of reports, and I guess it was just someone's dog, and they had given it a lion haircut. It looks like a lion, you guys. You guys see, this is so funny. Police officers in Spain responded to numerous reports of a lion on the loose in town and discovered the animal was actually a dog with a very unusual haircut. The local police of Molina de Segura said they received numerous reports Sunday of a loose lion strolling through the municipality. Officers tracked down the animal and discovered it was just actually a large dog with very long hair trimmed to resemble the body, the mane, and the tail of a large African lion. Police said the dog was microchipped, and then they contacted the owner for a reunion with said escaped pet. Alright, well, that was a good one. Can you imagine just a lion running around? What? It looks just like a lion. It's pictures of it. It's crazy. Anyway, that's it, guys. I hope that you have a lovely weekend and that you've enjoyed tonight's episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. And if you have, make sure you set your calendars for July 1st, when you can actually nominate me for a People's Choice Podcast Award in the spirituality category. That would be really cool. If I could at least place, if not win would be nice. But set it so you can nominate me, because it'd be so cool. Last year, I think it was a religious one that won. It's like they have religion and spirituality combined. And I'm so grateful, actually, to know that some people are now uncombining those because they're very different. But anyway, so I'll be up for a People's Choice Award in July. So set your alarm now, and I'll give you information on that. And I want to thank you in advance for forwarding, liking, subscribing, and sharing my stuff to anyone you think could use the information, or maybe in the case of tonight, some of the things were funny or very interesting anyway. At least to me, hopefully to you as well. But anyone who's awakening, spiritually, or people who are looking for that, when you're thirsty, you're hungry for that knowledge. I'm doing my best to get it out there. Stuff that's, day by day, stuff that's happening, as well as just in general, things about auras, chakras, feng shui, magic, witchcraft, anything that's interesting spiritually. That's where I'm at. That's what I love to talk about. So anyone who could use that, and also just forward this to your Instagram feed, your Facebook groups. Thank you for the help. A lot of you are starting to help me with this, and I'm grateful for it. And I am seeing the numbers change. I'm seeing it start to go up. So thank you. But anyway, I'm going to take the weekend off because, as you know, this season, for season 2, I was burned out last season. I did 364 episodes in a row, and I'm taking weekends off now. So I hope that you guys have a lovely break, and I will come back on Monday. God willing, and the creeks don't rise. As it is, actually, a creek outside my window, and has been rising because there's been a lot of rain. But I'll be back on Monday with all unique and original programming, just like always. There you have it. I love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and for listening, because if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have a show at all, right? It needs to be two sides to the story and the little play that is our lives, right? So thank you so much for listening to the show. I'm really grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you, and I love each and every one of you. If you haven't done so yet, make certain that you love everybody on the planet before you die. That's the biggest goal anyone can have in their lifetime. It's also the hardest thing to do, because some people, they try as they might, they just seem so damn unlovable, right? Sometimes the evil people, the mean, horrible people. You don't have to know them personally. You don't have to invite them over for dinner. But from a distance, in an impersonal way, send them love and light. Love them all. Because God does, and we don't have any business second-guessing our Creator in this. So before you die, love everybody on the planet. Love everybody as yourself. Because in Lak'ech, I am another yourself. Mitakuwe o Yasin, we all are one. And on that, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.